Hello and welcome to episode 22 of OPERAVISION's Next Generation series. I'm Nina Brazier, a stage director based in Frankfurt, and over this series we've been diving into 4 European young artist programmes: Palau de les Arts, Opera Frankfurt, Opera for Peace and the Rossini Opera Festival in Pesaro, exploring how the opera world is developing and nurturing the next generation of talent. Today we're back at the Palau de les Arts, joined by the 2 young artists we've been following over the entire season: soprano Iria Goti, who's in her 2nd and final year at the Centre de Perfeccionament, and mezzo-soprano Laura Orueta, who has now completed her time on the programme. In this episode, we'll be exploring how going steady and slow is essential to creating positive change in technique, how pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone is absolutely necessary when hustling for work, and how trusting yourself and the process can keep you calm under stressful circumstances. As always, let's start with a couple of words from today's guests.
And I realized how difficult it is to look for an agent, especially when you're a woman, and especially when you are not really good with emails and with schedules and these kind of things.
I went to a competition and I won the competition. It's really nice and you are excited and you sang in front of a lot of people and blah, blah, blah. And then you go to another competition and it goes totally the opposite. And you also learn about that experience and it's challenging.
So what's coming up for Iria on her last stretch on the Young Artist programme?
So next week I have a song recital and I'm quite excited about because I really like the repertoire. And for the next month and a half, I will be rehearsing Zauberflöte in Les Arts, and I'm really excited about it.
And tell us, what are you singing in Die Zauberflöte?
I'm singing the role of Papakena. This is the first time I will be full in a production in the theatre. And I think it's a really nice role to be on stage for the first time because it has a bit of everything. You are one of the main characters, but it's not a big deal to sing, and you also have a scene talking, which is really nice to work on the German. And yeah, I'm in general, I'm really happy about it.
And Laura, how has life changed for her since graduating from the Young Artists programme, the Palau de les Arts?
So now I started my professional path, definitely. Even though I'm also taking part in another small program that Teatro Real has for young singers, with masterclasses and other activities. For the moment, I'm taking part on the choir as a reinforcement for Meistersinger. Also, they offered me the enterprise that is in charge of the choir, which is Intermezzo. They also offered me to make the cover of the small roles of this opera, which are the Lierenbuben. So I studied the part and I'm ready to jump in case someone gets sick. And I think that's a great opportunity.
Catch that Meistersinger production from Madrid on OPERAVISION. But what's been the biggest change for Iria on the programme since we spoke in Valencia last summer?
There hasn't been many changes, but actually this year felt really different. We have more masterclasses, more of my colleagues are singing on stage, we have more opportunities and it's been really nice. But at the same time, I feel that the biggest change, it's me and myself and how I deal with things, where I'm now with my journey as an artist. Because I feel that I did some projects that I did last year and I felt really different this year because of my own path in this career.
If you could kind of put your finger on what was it exactly that feels different now, what would that be?
I feel much more confident on stage, and that's been really helpful because we are a lot on stage. We had a lot of recitals and masterclasses. We worked with some conductors this year, and I feel that I really needed that confidence to be able to improve more and more quickly. It's been really interesting. As I said, I did a project that I did last year, and this year I was super calm about it and enjoying a lot the show, and it was the same show, but I was different. I heard music home with it really don't want to be at all. With a lot of chess and a lot of as and a lot of as and not. Music is silly. I hate music.
That was Iria performing in Artifacts Assembly, now available on OPERAVISION. Laura, in the meantime, has already been back to perform more than once. Now, you have already returned back to the Palau with your roles in Rosalca and Maria Stuarda. We talked in our last session about being treated like a professional as opposed to being treated like a young artist. Do you feel differently now, being taken on as a true professional in your own right?
I feel a little bit different, but at the same time, I feel like a daughter of the house. Like I'm familiar with all the people that works there, which is nice. So, and now I know how everything works. So I had my more time for myself, and I realized how much was it to combine both things. And also at the same time, I had other partners like from the Centre, like Laura Fleur or Dani. It was really interesting to be in kind of the middle part of being a professional and being from the Centre. It was really interesting.
Do you feel like a lot of it is a psychological feeling that you're not in the same way attached to the house and, absolutely reliant on them for what the roles are that you're going to take on, what the soirees are? Do you think it's because you're not so codependent, let's say, and you have, like you mentioned, your own time as well as your time committed to the work there?
I don't think it's psychological, the feeling or the facts that go with being on the Centre or Centre. I think the treat is different. I mean the way they treat you, it's kind of different also.
And what will they miss from the Young Artist Programme? Iria.
I think I will miss a lot of things, actually, because just thinking about being able to go to an opera house every day of my life and to have this huge space to sing, to share knowledge with colleagues, to work with really good coaches and pianists and teachers, to have this connection with the theater. I think it's really nice, and I will definitely miss that. Also, the stability of being in the same place and money covered for 2 years and not need to worry about what I'm going to do next month. It's really nice. So yeah, I think I will miss a lot of things.
It seems Laura was ready for a change of scene.
I think it's really natural for human beings in general to change something every 2 years, because otherwise you get stuck, especially I think when you're young, and you get stuck and you get maybe bored, I don't know, and especially for an artist, I think. So everything that I've done in 2 years, I really had the need to change it. I did fine arts for 4 years, but something changed in those 4 years. Or I was in the Escuela Superior de Cante of Madrid for years, but I was doing also a lot of things. I was working also outside. And now in the Centre, which I was really focused on the Centre, also doing things outside, but I was really, really ready to move on, because that's why it's a 2-year program, because you are supposed to move on after those 2 years.
But before moving on, Laura also performed in Artifacts Assembly.
Sobre la mar, en el magic moment de
there anything in particular that you look back on and think you're really glad you went through that specific young artist experience that really stands you in good stead for your life as a singer?
For me, especially the performances I did on the main stage, Hernani and Jenufa. Jenufa first was the first getting in contact with the main stage and with the professionals that work there. And it was like, yes, that's what I want to do in my life. It was a reaffirmation of my desires as an artist. In Hernani, I also got in contact with really nice people, and it was so much fun as well. Even though my role was small, but I really enjoyed it, and it was recorded. Those experiences, I think, were the nicest. And also my colleagues from the center, of course, and some other teachers as well, that I got some knowledge from them, so some basis for who I am today.
But what were the biggest challenges for our two young artists?
Definitely uncertainty about the future and this not having stability at all. I think this is a part of being a singer, but it's hard. Also, I know, financial management for the next season and things like that. And keep working and keep studying and keep doing things, but without knowing what's going to happen in the future.
Have you felt like the programme has been able to support you in understanding where you'll be as you come out of the programme?
Because this year I really pushed myself to talk to everyone and to talk to conductors, to talk to colleagues. And it's been helpful because we kind of feel the same at some point. I think we all understand each other. I mean, the theater gave me things and gave me especially a really good environment to share this knowledge with everyone. I think I will always keep a connection with the theater, and I think I will always have an open door to come back and work, and I hope to be on productions in the future. But I don't feel that I have open doors in other theaters or other types of work.
You mentioned right at the beginning of your answer about pushing yourself. What is it that feels uncomfortable about the process? Is it that kind of putting yourself forward for things and having to approach people and email people and the sort of the dreaded networking? What is it that feels sort of difficult and like you have to perhaps push yourself beyond your comfort zone?
I feel that in this career, as a young artist especially, we never feel ready to do things. We always want to be better and sing this better, and this high note needs to be better, and we are always with this anxiety of fix things. And so when you go outside and you show yourself, you are a bit worried always about how is it going to be with this process. But at some point you just need to do it, and that's why I said that I need to push myself a bit. But I'm happy because I learned a lot from it. And sometimes it went well, really well. I went to a competition and I won the competition. It's really nice. And you are excited and you sang in front of a lot of people and blah, blah, blah. And then you go to another competition and it goes totally the opposite. And you also learn about that experience. And it's challenging and it's stressful sometimes, but it's this career at the end. It's what it is.
Did you feel afterwards, when you reflected on the one that, let's say, hadn't gone so well, about what was different about that? Was it a mindset thing? Was it the way you were feeling about your voice that day or the way your voice was behaving? Could you put your finger on what was different?
Yeah, I was sick for 2 weeks and then I had this competition.
Ooh.
And some part of myself said, like, don't go. You are not going to be on point. You're not going to be 100%. Another part of myself said, it's fine. You're not going to be in 100%. It's fine. But you just go there and do what you work for. And let's see what happens. You know, the worst part of going to a competition and don't get anything is just lose money and whatever. I mean, I can find money in another place, but I will learn something from the experience. I can say this now because it's been a while. I mean, maybe just after the competition, I didn't feel this way, but I've learned this year, perspective.
And when you look back now, would you still do that competition again? Or would you say, actually, I've been sick for 2 weeks, I'm not going to be on point, this is one I should just let go?
Interesting question. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't do it this time. I wouldn't repeat the experience. It's a bit of a nightmare because you have one chance to sing and they will judge you. Yeah, but I don't think I will repeat it because I think we shouldn't sing if we are sick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm proud of myself and I'm happy I did it.
For both of our young artists, it's the challenges that have made them stronger.
We do an activity which is we call it the camion, the truck, and we go around villages in Valencia with this opera. Sometimes it can be heavy because you travel by bus 1 hour, 2 hours. This is in July and it's so hot. But then you see the people that is so grateful for you to have go there and to have performed for them. And actually, I'm going to repeat this experience this year in July because it's really rewarding in that way, to make the effort, to sweat, to be tired, to not have maybe your best day because you have been, I don't know, doing another thing during the day, and it's really difficult to deal with the heat. But it's going to be worse with the climate change, so I think we have to get ready for that. And it's a training. And after that training with the heat, I got to do the Kurtik in Rusalka, and I was wearing a fat suit, and I was sweating so much. And then I remember the days that I was doing these performances on the street at 36 degrees or whatever, and then I was ready for that.
I'm thinking about other young artists graduating, let's say, from young artists programs. What would you advise other young artists about adjusting to life outside an institution? Because it sounds like for you, it's been a very smooth process. What words of advice might you give? I
think it's really important to have a good connection with theater if you want to work again in the theater that gives you the opportunity of working in the program. And I was really lucky to have the chance to go back with Maria Estuarda and Rusalka because I have a good relation with them. And also to build more connections outside. This is the trickiest part because, for instance, for the moment, I don't have an agent. And I realize how difficult it is to look for an agent, especially when you're a woman and especially when you are not really good with emails and with schedules and these kind of things. It can be tricky. So I advise them to look in the future and to ask themselves what they really want. So audition, competitions, and don't give up. That's the thing. And save money if you can.
How has Iria prepared for life beyond the programme?
I've been working on that for the whole season, and I'm proud of myself because I have to push myself a bit to do that. But I think I achieved some things. I started to look outside the theatre more, and I did competitions, I did more auditions. This year it's been audition year. And I'm happy because I think that had a main role in my improvement this year, to be able to see outside. I find a coach, I find a singing teacher, and they really helped me to relax a bit. I've learned that you need to keep working, keep improving, and keep looking, but at the end, life will have a place for you. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure where by now, but yeah, I focus a bit on myself. I invest on myself and really prepare myself to sing better, to be a better artist, to study languages and be prepared for the opportunities and obviously go and try to find them, but keeping calm.
Para hundir mi mejilla en ese valle, para que el corazón no salte y calle. Hazme entregado, reposado y mudo.
That was another young artist, the baritone Marcelo Solís, in Artifacts Assembly. Now, we talked a bit last time about needing time to work on things, to fix things. We were chatting about your high notes improving over those 3 months. Has this idea of working and developing slowly applied to other techniques you've been working on?
This now applies to everything. This is one of the best things I could learn in my life. This year, I also started to go to therapy, and it's been really helpful. I think we all need someone who can guide us a bit in terms of mental stability and health. And I realized that with perspective, everything gets clearer. I was so worried last year about my high notes, about my technique, and I'm still worried. But now that I see the months going and I see my improvement, I say to myself that I needed that time. That time had a purpose. And sometimes you just need to take it. It is what it is. And we all want to fix things in a moment, but it's not possible. And now that I see that time, and now that I see that I'm much better on stage, that I feel confident, that I have more tools to sing and enjoy a performance. And it's a really good feeling. Now I know that I couldn't get to that point, to the point I'm now, without that time and without that months or a year, I don't know, of not really knowing what I'm doing. If you feel that you are improving just in the smallest amount, keep doing that and don't stress about it every day because it's not helpful. Just trust yourself and trust the people that are around you, the people that are working with you and guiding you, and trust the process.
One of Laura's big takeaways is not to be shy about speaking up.
I think in general, because we come from a position of being students and because of how our educative system works, we are not really used to make questions. I don't know why. If it's not in our personality, if we are shy, as I am, we think that we are not allowed to make some questions. And I think it's really important when you write an email and when they give you a contract and when you don't have anything clear. Sometimes the people that you are going to make those questions to, they get it as aggressive. So it's also important how to make those questions in a nice way. I don't know in other countries, but for instance in Spain, when they give you a contract, sometimes they just call you by phone and they don't give you any insurance or any certainty about how the work is going to be. And then you find another things and it's like, this is not what we talked.
On OPERAVISION right now, you can catch Iria and Laura in Artifacts Assembly, 11 musical pieces performed by the young artists of the Centre de Perfeccionament, as well as a selection of works from the exhibitions and the collection at the Institute of Modern Art in Valencia. Laura watched the film premiere.
I went to the premiere with some colleagues. I think it's an amazing approach to art song from the 20th century, and also to a universe, to a visual universe of Pau Berga that it's really touching sometimes. It's really different one from another, even though there are some really quirky, funny, strange videos and some works of music. But I think it's really interesting to see. I encourage everyone to go and to check on it. Sometimes it clashes a lot, and sometimes it really makes sense. Yes, I think that's the whole point of the thing. and also the whole point of the art of the 20th century. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense, and sometimes you're like, what is this, no?
Iria recalls just one day for recording audio and one day for filming the visuals.
Yeah, it was a challenge. Definitely. I felt that I had the musical part was covered, and I feel that I have all the tools to work on musical stuff. But then when you are on a theater with a lot of art, beautiful art, and you have these cameras around and microphones and lots of people around telling you, okay, do that and then move to that part and go and sit over the piano and things like that. It was definitely a challenge because you don't really know what's going to what's the idea, the general idea, or is it going to be at the end, and what's going to be the product, and you don't even know where they are recording. I mean, sometimes you are there in a big space with a lot of art, and the camera is on the left, but you are not sure where you are or on the space. I don't know. It was funny, actually. And cool. It was a cool experience, and I did lip sync from the first time on my life. And now that I see the video and now that I see what they did, it's a really nice shared experience between art and music, and I feel that we all did a really good job.
Was there more than one director on board, or was there sort of an assistant and someone else who was guiding you? Because I know that is tricky to sort of hear different notes from different sides. How did that work?
There was a director, there was an assistant, then we have makeup and dressing, and also the musical part was there because they all want to be, they all want to help, but they all need their part to be perfect. I mean, you only see 6 minutes or 3 minutes of your song in the video, but we were there for hours changing things and really getting into detail, and I've never done that, so it was my very first time. But now I'm happy. At the end I was a bit stressed about it, but yeah, as I said before, perspective and take time and trust the people around and trust yourself.
Thank you so much to Iria Goti and Laura Orueta for joining me today for OPERAVISION's Next Generation series. And thanks to you for listening. There's plenty more online at operavision.eu, where you can see Artifacts Assembly, Young Artists at the Palau de les Arts, and from Oper Frankfurt, a documentary about the audition training of the scholarship holders of the Paul Hindemith Orchestra Academy. I'll link to those in the show notes and give details on all the music extracts you heard in this episode. This series is edited and produced by Karen Piri and curated and hosted by me, Nina Brazier. OPERAVISION is co-funded by the European Commission.